I'm gonna start streaming. Am I streaming? Am I on? Oh God, I'm on. Wait a minute. It seems like I'm not on. Oh God. Oh jeez, I'm on. Oh. This is confusing. I've never done this before. I feel kind of retarded. That's a word that's not used, you know. It's not used infrequently among friends, and I'm assuming that's what we are here, is friends. I'm just gonna put this on the Wikipedia page, but I don't know. I wanted to do what I do every year, which is I read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. It's the best story of all time. I don't know if you knew that, but and I'm being a little knowingly stupid, saying that, because it's there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of stories out there. Saying that A Christmas Carol is the best story is it's like saying that the best meal is spaghetti, which a lot of people, for a lot of people that's their truth, but for me, A Christmas Carol is just the sweetest tasting dessert. It's the most filling meal that you could possibly pick if you were a fella on death row and they asked you what your last meal was going to be. It seems like the best choice for a story to read in a year such as this one, when half of everyone is at each other's throats, and the other half, oh geez, they're losing more of their brain cells every day. I don't know why brain cells came up, but it seems like when I was in high school, brain cells was the currency. It was the currency. You're gonna lose brain cells. It's probably someone advising me not to do something that I should not have done. And if you're in high school, I would highly recommend listening to those people who talk in terms of brain cells. It's smart to do that. But anyway, half of everyone is at one another's throats, and half of everyone is just trying to enjoy themselves, let's say, the best they can. Me, I'm doing what I always do on Christmas. It's about 10 o'clock at night. It's Christmas Eve, and I'm going to read A Christmas Carol, because I do this every year, and I've never live streamed before, by the way. I just downloaded the program that everybody said to get, and I'm trying it out. May not work. It may work though. I'm gonna get drunk while I'm at it, so, and I hope to. I don't know. I hope to have fun. It's such a long book. It's not really. It's like 82 pages. I'm showing 82 pages here. This is like a set of Charles Dickens's collected works. I got them on eBay. Let me tell you, you can find a lot of collected works on eBay for pretty cheap. I think the libraries these days are just, they've called it quits on the human being. they've just given up on the human, and they've said, all the libraries, they got together and they said, let's just get rid of this stuff. And so they're selling it for pennies. You should go on eBay if you like books and stories and fiction. I know it's always looked down on. I look down on it sometimes. Sometimes I look down on it. Fiction, it's fairy tales. It's child's play, right? It's I don't know. It's not serious. I should be reading stuff about the economy, or I don't even know. I don't even know what else. The philosophy of gender. I think fiction's just as serious as everything else. I think fiction is the perfect place to store that super important information that it just doesn't get stored in all the highbrow science and technology and skill set fields of study. Skill-centric, right? Fiction isn't about skills for a reader. It is for a writer, certainly, but maybe not even then. It might just be about talent. And if there was someone who was talented and had the skills that you could learn from to back it up, it was Charles Dickens. So I'm going to read this, and you might be bored as heck, but maybe you won't. Maybe you won't be. I know that, audiobooks they're fun, right? But the joy of an audiobook is to be able to pause it and well, I guess this will be stored as a type of audiobook. Maybe. I don't know what the limit is on YouTube videos. What is the limit on YouTube videos? Limit on live stream YouTube. What is the limit for length? Or duration? 8 hours? Oh my goodness. I don't think this is going to take 8 hours. I might have to split it up too. I guess this will be stored as a kind of audiobook if I don't delete it. I don't think I'm going to delete it. I think it's a beautiful book, and you don't have to know anything about Charles Dickens to love this book and to learn this book. It's the greatest story ever told, is what I think. Not the greatest story ever told. I think that's the story in the Bible is the greatest story ever told. But the greatest story ever told that could happen to you. Right? With you as the hero, right? As the reformed, right? Because, the story in the Bible is about the reformer. Whereas the story in A Christmas Carol is about a man reformed. And it's not even about a man reformed. It's about a man in need of being reformed. And that is our condition. It just is. If you think we're not in need of being reformed, you are mistaken. And I say that with delicate grace and not with overmuch force. I really do. I say that gracefully because I'm saying it lightly, lightheartedly. You're mistaken. We are in need of reform. Scrooge isn't just some guy who goes around saying, bah humbug. Scrooge is all of us. We have the feeling of Scrooge. You have felt like a Scrooge at some point this holiday season. That's my guess. If you haven't, then you are most blessed. But I have a knack for landing on the truth. I've had a lot of practice, target practice in my life, and I think every one of us who's old enough, right, can relate to Scrooge in a very personal way. It's undeniable. So, let's begin A Christmas Carol by Sir Charles Dickens, which, was first published in 1843. And let the story speak for itself. Preface. I need a haircut. The narrow space within which it was necessary to confine these Christmas stories when they were originally published rendered their construction a matter of some difficulty, and almost necessitated what is peculiar in their machinery. I could not attempt great elaboration of detail in the working out of character within such limits. My chief purpose was, in a whimsical kind of mask which the good humor of the season justified, to awaken some loving and forbearing thoughts never out of season in a Christian land. So his chief purpose was to awaken some loving and forbearing thoughts. I have endeavored in this ghostly little book to raise the ghost of an idea, which shall not put my readers out of humor with themselves, with each other, with the season, or with me. May it haunt their houses pleasantly, and no one wish to lay it. Their faithful friend and servant, C.D., and that's for Charles Dickens. I love how back in the 19th century, people would sign not sincerely, not respectfully, not yours truly. They would say, your faithful friend and servant. Sometimes I've seen George Washington sign his letters, your most obedient servant. George Washington. No, they'll talk about how George Washington owned slaves. And that's a hot topic. That's a strong issue because it is a moral no-no in today's world, right? The consensus is that slavery was wrong, right? That's the consensus. And it doesn't matter what I think. That's the consensus. But the way these I wouldn't call them upper class, but I would call them, the way these men of virtue would sign their letters was always evocative of some type of servanthood. For real. They would. I mean, it was sort of the thing to do, was to be a servant in polite society. So we know that he wants, that his purpose here is just to, he didn't have a lot of time to write the story. He didn't have a lot of space. He wanted to raise some loving and forbearing thoughts, right? Look at this. I'm on like the limit of forbearing. Let's just be. You didn't even spell it right. Some forbearing, some patient and restrained. Let's open this up. Forbear. Self-control. Wow. Loving and forbearing thoughts. Wow. And he hides it in a mask of good humor, right? A whimsical kind of mask, which the good humor of the season justifies. Whimsically told tale. Forbearing. It seems like forbearing was always something like a warning. Gentle. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Indulgent. Well, forbearance is a word in finance. They use forbearance. Okay, yeah. I'm kind of retarded. I'm not gonna lie. So patient and forgiving. So loving and forbearing thoughts to be awakened is just, I would just summarize it and say like virtuous. I would say. The Greeks. I got one of these Apple Watches. It's dead. So why am I still wearing it? That's why I'm taking it off. The Greeks thought of virtue in a very different sense. So I'm not about to pretend like I say virtue. I'm going to be the one who divorces virtue from what it means, and right. Oh, sweet. My girlfriend. I haven't had a girlfriend in 7 years. I just got a girlfriend just the other day. Like earlier this month. I found her, I think I found her. Like really, I didn't have a girlfriend for 7 years. I want you to think about that. No girlfriend for 7 years. Could have had girlfriends, didn't. I didn't want one. Wanted to wait for the right one to show up. Boom. She showed up. I can't deny it. I look at her and I just Anyway, I ordered her a gift. She has these nutcrackers in her house, and I ordered her a nutcracker. I hope it's good enough. I'd sign in and show you, but anyway, yeah, that's getting a little out there. All right, so I hope to be able to read this just kind of one little section at a time, and just stop and be lighthearted with it, not be all like an audio book where it's, but also not be like so out of whack where it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna talk and be a ham. No, I'm not trying to be a ham. No, who wants to do that? Let me make sure this is oh jeez. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. No one. Really? No one? There's a playback. There's 2 playbacks. You would think that people would be in attendance, but nobody gives a shit about Dickens. I'm not gonna lie. Like, people aren't just searching for A Christmas Carol on Christmas Eve. Maybe they are, though. Maybe they are. Who knows? You know what? Who cares? I'm not really doing this for live streaming, even though it is being live streamed. To be honest, like, live streaming is pretty cool because when you live stream, you don't save the video. That's the brilliance of it. Alright, so I'm just going to leave this up here, and I'm going to start the story itself by our faithful friend and servant. That's what a friend is. A Christmas Carol, Stave 1. Marley's ghost. Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadliest, or the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade. A coffin nail, right? But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, the doornail. And my unhallowed hands shall not disturb it, or the country's done for, right? You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was as dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead? Of course he did. Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole assign, his sole residuary legatee, his sole friend, and sole mourner. Sounds like this Scrooge guy did a lot of work for Marley. And even Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up by the sad event, but that he was an excellent man of business on the very day of the funeral and solemnized it with an undoubted bargain. So he saved some money on the guy's funeral. The mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. There is no doubt that Marley, Scrooge's partner, was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful could come of the story I'm about to relate. If we were not perfectly convinced that Hamlet's father died before the play began, there would be nothing more remarkable in his taking a stroll at night, right, in an easterly wind, upon his own ramparts, than there would be in any other middle-aged gentleman rashly turning out after dark in a breezy spot, say St. Paul's churchyard, for instance, literally to astonish his son's weak mind. Isn't that brilliant? He just brings Shakespeare to life, He's saying Hamlet's father, right? Just to astonish his sons. Oh, jeez. What's remarkable about it? He was dead! It's an important point. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. He never did. There it stood, years later, above the warehouse door. It still said Scrooge and Marley. Scrooge! He never really thinks about things from the outside looking in, right? He's not looking at how it still says Scrooge and Marley, right? Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge Scrooge, and sometimes Marley, but he answered to both names. It was all the same to him. So, doesn't matter what you call me. We're doing business. Oh! But he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. Though cold within him, froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice. A frosty rime was on his head, and on his eyebrows, and his wiry chin. He carried his own low temperature always about him. He was like Jack Frost. He iced his office in the dog days and didn't thaw it 1 degree at Christmas. External heat and cold had little influence on Scrooge. No warmth could warm him. No wintry weather could chill him. No wind that blew was bitterer than he was. No falling snow was more intent on its purpose. No pelting rain was less open to entreaty. Foul weather didn't know where to have him. The heaviest rain and snow and hail and sleet could boast of the advantage over him in only one respect. They often came down handsomely. And Scrooge, he never did. He never did. He never did. There was no grace in him. Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say with gladsome looks, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" No beggars implored him to bestow a trifle. No children asked him what it was o'clock. No man or woman ever once in all his life inquired the way to such and such a place of Scrooge. Listen to his name, right? Even the blind men's dogs appeared to know him. And when they saw him coming on, they tugged their owners into doorways and up courts, and then wagged their tails as though they were saying, "No eye at all is better than an evil eye." Dark master. But what did Scrooge care? It was the very thing he liked. To edge his way along the crowded paths of life, warning all human sympathy to keep its distance, was what the knowing ones call nuts to Scrooge. Really appreciate that. I hope you do. To edge his way out on the periphery, along the crowded paths of life, warning, so being an intimidator, all human sympathy, kindness, to keep its distance. Do you know people like this? Chances are very good that you do. When Scrooge heard people calling other people nuts, he understood it as a type of strategy. Why would you want human sympathy to keep its distance? Why would you want to edge your way through life? We'll find out. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. Now this is when the story begins. Now, all this other stuff was what's called, what is it called? Exposition? Absolutely. Exposition. Geez. Narrative exposition is background information. Marley's dead. His name's still above the door of the business. It's a warehouse. Old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house, right? Counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather, foggy withal, and he could hear the people in the court outside go wheezing up and down, beating their hands upon their breasts and stamping their feet upon the pavement stones to warm them. Wow. The city clocks had only just gone 3. Let me see if I... Sorry, I'm gonna pause for a second. The city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. It had not been light all day. Hmm. 3 p.m. Right? Freezing cold. He's in his counting house. And candles were flaring in the windows of the neighboring offices like ruddy smears upon the palpable brown air. The fog came pouring in at every chink and keyhole and was so dense without that although the court was of the narrowest, the houses opposite were mere phantoms. To see the dingy cloud come drooping down, obscuring everything, one might have thought that nature lived hard by and was brewing on a large scale. This is when Dickens he's not being whimsical here. Before he was being very whimsical. Now it sort of gets ominous. The door of Scrooge's counting house, this is the brilliance of Dickens, by the way. He can be as funny as he can be serious. The door of Scrooge's counting house was open that he might keep his eye upon his clerk, who in a dismal little cell beyond, a sort of tank, was copying letters. He was copying letters. Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clerk's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal. There's the humor. All right. It looked like one coal. But it's not funny. But it's funny. But it's not funny. That's the germ. That's the beauty. If you can hit as hard as you can funny as you can sad in the same description, in the same descriptive prose. Oh, jeez. You've hit the mark. People can stand around it and argue, right? One coal? Well, is it funny or is it sad? And the answer is yes. Yes. Just one coal. But he couldn't replenish it, for Scrooge kept the coal box in his own room. And so surely as the clerk came in with the shovel, the master predicted that it would be necessary for them to part. Wherefore the clerk put on his white comforter and tried to warm himself at the candle. Oh, jeez. This poor guy. He's like, oh, jeez. Trying to warm himself at a candle. In which effort, not being a man of a strong imagination, he failed. Aha! He tried to warm himself at a candle wick. It didn't work. Oh, jeez. One coal. Scrooge keeps the box of coal in that room, and I'm just trying to stay warm under this comforter with a little candle and a one coal fire. You know? But suspend your disbelief, That's what Coleridge would say, Suspend it, and you'll see that how screwed up the whole situation is, and that's what you gotta remember. Screwed up. It's screwed up. It's all screwed up. His whole life. I don't just mean the clerk. I mean Scrooge. Scrooge. His life screwed up. Suddenly, I'm gonna grab another beer. I'm gonna grab another beer. One of these days, gonna get me a guitar. Gonna get me a guitar. Gonna sing. Gonna sing my songs. Gonna sing my songs for you. I'm gonna sing my songs. Gonna sing my songs. Gonna sing my songs for you. What is it about this story? So enchanting. Every page, though, it's just full of I don't even know what to call it. It's brilliant. I guess that's all you gotta call it. It's brilliant. You know the problem is, at least I think the problem is, I think that people forgot how to bring things alive with their mind. Like, because TV does it for you. If that makes sense. I keep looking at this. I keep looking at this. This whole thing here. This whole panel. I don't even know. I don't even know what it does. It makes no sense to me. I'm not worried about it. You know, what I am worried about is my girlfriend. She should have been off like 20 minutes ago. She was working tonight on Christmas Eve, and it's like 10:30, you know, in my time zone. It's really late, and you know, just trying to check on her. Who knows, though? You know, what can you do? What do you do? It's one of the things about, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't have I don't really have an answer for relationship stuff. I try to do what I can, you know. Anyway, let's get back to our story because it's really good. A Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you! It's something to read right there. Cried a cheerful voice. It was the voice of Scrooge's nephew, who came upon him so quickly that this was the first intimation he had of his approach. Sneaky little guy. "Bah!" said Scrooge. "Humbug!" He had so heated himself with rapid walking in the fog and frost, this nephew of Scrooge's, that he was all in a glow. His face was ruddy and handsome. His eyes sparkled and his breath smoked again. "Christmas a humbug, Uncle," said Scrooge's nephew. "You don't mean that, I'm sure." "I do," said Scrooge. "Merry Christmas! What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough." "Come then," returned the nephew gaily. "What right have you to be dismal? What reason have you to be morose? You're rich enough." Pulled the mirror out on him, right? And that's the irony of the Christmas season, right? You see, people like Scrooge are I don't know. It's ironic, that we struggle to be successful in life, and that we define a success by economy and or finances, and it seems like at Christmas time, at least in this story, which you probably know very well, that the Cratchits, right? They're at least they're happy. They're poor, but they're happy at Christmas time. Whereas Scrooge, he's very wealthy, right? He's very successful. He did he made all the right moves to get a good paycheck, but God, he is dismal, right? He just said, "What right do you have to be happy?" to his nephew, who had told him Merry Christmas. Dickens. Scrooge, having no better answer ready on the spur of the moment, said "Bah!" again and followed it up with "Humbug." "Don't be cross, Uncle," said the nephew. "What else can I be?" returned the uncle, "when I live in such a world of fools as this. Merry Christmas." "Out upon Merry Christmas! What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older but not an hour richer. A time for balancing your books and having every item in them through a round dozen of months presented dead against you. If I could work my will," said Scrooge indignantly, "every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. He should." "Uncle," said the nephew. "Nephew," returned the uncle sternly, "keep Christmas in your own way, and let me keep it in mine." "Keep it, but you don't keep it." That's the nephew. "Let me leave it alone, then," said Scrooge. "Much good may it do you, much good as it has ever done you. There are many good things from which I might have derived good, by which I have not profited, I dare say," returned the nephew. Now distinguishing right there the central focus of the irony that I just mentioned. Distinguishing profit from the good, right? Emanates that source of happiness that we all delight in. I can't even function anymore. Children, when we grow up and we get we fall in love, it's best if you know how to compartmentalize. I'm sure I've always thought of Christmas time when it's come around, apart from the veneration due to its sacred name and origin, if anything belonging to it can be apart from that, as a good time. That's what the nephew said. A kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know of in the long calendar of the year when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely, and to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave, and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good, and will do me good, and I say God bless it. The clerk in the tank involuntarily applauded. This cold dude! Becoming immediately sensible of the impropriety, he poked the fire and extinguished the last frail spark forever. You know? "Let me hear another sound from you," said Scrooge, "and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. You're quite a powerful speaker, sir," he added, turning to his nephew. "I wonder you don't go into Parliament." See? Golly, he's a pragmatist. Now, this is important for Americans, in particular. American pragmatism has clearly been that it has clear in history. American pragmatism has clearly been the biggest force, I think, that it makes me think of what has happened to Scrooge. Scrooge is Scrooge because of American pragmatism. Perhaps. You know, what if I put a hat on? I wonder what that does for me. Children, when you fall in love, when you get older and you fall in love and you love someone, it is you see this face? You see it? You see how it looks? Oh. Ah. Ah. That's what happens when you fall in love. Ah. You feel so happy, you're afraid you're afraid. You feel so happy you don't trust it. You know? I think it calms down. I think it will calm down. But right now I'm there. I'm like in that situation where I'm like, I'm going to try to find a Christmas Carol, this live stream, in fact, on YouTube, if I just look it up. Wow, I can't find it. Look, other people are doing this too. So it's not. There must be a delay. Golly. That's so stupid. Live. There it is! Okay. If you did live. Look, there's someone else! This was a fucking terrible idea. This was a fucking terrible idea. Look, there's someone else! This was a fucking terrible idea. This was a fucking terrible idea. Look, there's someone else! This was a fucking terrible idea. This was a fucking terrible idea. Look, there's someone else! This was a fucking terrible idea. This was a fucking terrible idea. Look, there's someone else! This was a fucking terrible idea. This was a fucking terrible idea. Look, there's someone else! This was a fucking terrible idea. This was a fucking terrible idea. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna get back to. Alright. Turn it off. Ah, it hurt my ears. You layer like 4 video clips on top of one another, and that's about how much it'll do to hurt my ears. Alright. Don't be angry, Uncle, said the nephew. Come dine with us tomorrow. Scrooge said that he would see him. Yes, indeed. He did. He went the whole length of the expression and said that he would see him in that extremity first. He would see him in Parliament first. He'd see him in Parliament before he came to dinner. But why? Said Scrooge's nephew. Why? Why did you get married? Said Scrooge. Because I fell in love, said the nephew. Because you fell in love, growled Scrooge, as if that were the only one thing in the world more ridiculous than a Merry Christmas. Good afternoon, he said to him. Nay, Uncle, but you never came to see me before that happened. Why give it as a reason for not coming now? Good afternoon. So he's never come to see his nephew. Not before he was married, not after. Why? Right. I want nothing from you. That's what the nephew says to Scrooge. I want nothing. I ask nothing of you. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Hold on. Why can't we be friends? This is the nephew of Scrooge. You know what? I know that the original is up here, but this Smash Mouth cover looks pretty good. I'm gonna do the original.
Grammarly helps make your writing clear and concise.
Yeah, I don't have
no matter where you
YouTube
are.
Premium, but
Compose a cover letter.
what do you do? Yeah, playing chess. Song the world needs to hear right now. That's just my opinion.
I kinda like to be the president, so I can show you how your money's spent. Why can't we be friends? 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 Sometimes I don't speak right, but yet I know what I'm talking about. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
This song, I never knew.
I know you're waiting for the CIA.
They killed Kennedy.
They wouldn't have you in the fire. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
Let me just tell you. That's what Scrooge's nephew asks his uncle when he comes to say Merry Christmas. Come to dinner? And his uncle says no. The depravity. I mean, can you feel it? Can you really? Ah!
Why can't we be friends?
You know, I gotta tell you, I got a dream. It has to do with what I'm doing now. It's simple. It's very, very simple. I don't know what in God's name that is. Very, very simple. I want to make pop-up books in the audio format. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Oh, jeez. What are you doing? I don't know. Why can't we be friends? Good afternoon, Scrooge said. I'm sorry with all my heart to find you so resolute. We have never had any quarrel to which I have been a party, but I have made the trial in homage to Christmas, and I'll keep my Christmas humor to the last. So a Merry Christmas, Uncle! Right? Almost defiantly, almost viciously happy. Right? Cheerful. Right? But in a weaponized way, right? Weaponized happiness, that needs to spread, that needs to spread like spores. Weaponized happiness. Right. Good afternoon, said Scrooge. This is the third time that his uncle has just said, no, fourth time, good afternoon. Telling him bye, basically. And a happy new year, said the nephew. Good afternoon, said Scrooge. It's just another afternoon for him. His nephew left the room without an angry word. Notwithstanding, he stopped at the outer door to bestow the greetings of the season on the clerk, who, cold as he was warmer than Scrooge, for he returned them cordially, meaning, Scrooge's nephew said Merry Christmas to you on the way out to the clerk, and the clerk said Merry Christmas back. There's another fellow, muttered Scrooge, who overheard him, my clerk, with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family, talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam. Meaning, I'm gonna go crazy. This lunatic, in letting Scrooge's nephew out, had let 2 other people in. Lunatic, right? Lunatic. A lunatic for being happy on Christmas. He makes 15 shillings a week. Now, you English people in England, you know what that means, probably. I don't know. I don't know if you do the shillings anymore or not. Shilling. What is a shilling? It's less than a penny. Okay, so let's say it's a penny. Let's look at the standard. It looks like it's about a penny. It's a little less than a penny. Oh my God, what has happened in the last year? Oh, it was earlier this year in February. It was exactly 1 penny. That's convenient. What has happened here? That's something that people need to look at, because the shilling. Oh, this is a Kenyan shilling. Oh, good night. I want a English shilling. Oh God. Does it not exist anymore? £12. Mike Pence. English pence to US dollar. 12. Oh, Jesus. Why do I not? Oh, convert pence sterling. And this. So. Oh, okay. I still don't think I understand. What in the heck is this? What is 1 English shilling to 1 US dollar? Oh, jeez. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. A shilling. Oh, jeez. This is so stupid. That's a cryptocurrency called shilling. What is 1 British money? You know what? I don't know shoot. So I'm just gonna find you the chart. Let's learn together. Okay. Let's learn together. There's no diagram. There's no table, right? I need the elementary school version of British money. There are 100 pence to the pound. So this is, I get it. All right, and shilling to pence. Oh, Jesus. All right, so let's open up Excel. You know, I'm a big Excel believer. Don't worry about any of that Rockefeller stuff. I'm not crazy. If there's 1 shilling is equal to 12 pence, right? And there were 240 pennies to a pound. I don't know jack about this stuff. 1 shilling equals 12 pence. How many pillings to pounds? Pillings. Shillings to pounds. British shillings to pounds. Oh, Jesus. 20 shillings. 1 pound. 20 shillings. 20 shillings. 1 pound. 1 pound, 240 pennies. I don't think the pennies even matters. What did we say? He makes... What's a British pound? Pound to dollar. Oh, jeez. I can't even spell right. I'm pooped. My girl... I'm gonna sleep soon. I drank 4 beers. I'm drinking my 4th. I drank almost 4 beers. But really, these are bigger than just 1 can of beer, and so it's kind of like I drank 5 beers. I don't like this voice or this person. Kill him! Kill him! He wants to ruin you! I want candy bars. I bet you are pooped. My girlfriend, she You going? Okay, let me fill you in because this is just boring, right? I'm just being me. You know, take a minute. You know, take a minute for yourself. It's not, you know, it's not like, you know. It's not like I'm like so rehearsed and scripted that, you know, I'm being paid off to lie to you like the news media of today. I'm not like that, you know. I'm not a news guy. I'm not even I'm not a podcast guy. I'm just some dude. Right? That's the brilliance of it. Should be the brilliance of it. I don't know. I think that the more genuine, the better the experience for the viewer. I'm asking my girlfriend if she's going straight to bed, and I said it like that, straight to bed. Oh, let me finish this. Yeah. Okay, so if you got 1 pound equals 20 shillings, and 1 shilling equals 12 pence, then you can think of 240 pence equals 1. Okay, that's true. Right. What is the etymology of pence? It literally means penny. Well, what's penny? Pfennig. It's obviously German, right? Penning. But why? But why? That's what I always ask. That's what you should always ask when you look up, but why? Pennies first attested in a 1394 Scots text. What? Pawn? Frying pan. Whatever. It's like 1/200 of a pound, and a pound is, U.S. dollar to pound. You could say that if there's 1 U.S. dollar, well, let me just go 1 U.S. dollar and then 0.74 pound, right? So you can think of it as 1/240th is, so it's pound, and then what you do is you take this divided by this, right, and you just multiply it, and that gives you really what a pence is in terms of the US dollar, right? This is the pence. This is the value of a pence in terms of a US dollar. It's about half a penny. Okay? And so, if you have 12 of those in a shilling, and this clerk, which we don't even know his name yet, his name is Bob Cratchit, but we don't know his name yet in the story, but he gets paid a week. And so let me just, right. If we take 15 shillings times the 12 pence in each shilling, you get 180 pence. Okay? Now, if you take 180 pence and you multiply it by the pence value of a dollar, my friends, we have a guy who makes $1 every week. You know what? This calls for, let me tell you, I don't know if you know what? I don't know about you, but I need $1.
Hey YouTube, how's it going?
And you might not be of the same mindset. Jeez, I don't know how to work YouTube anymore. Eventually you outgrow even your own.
How do I stay strong?
Interests, right?
Stay creative.
I don't know about you, but if I was making 15 shillings a week, I'd be upset. That's a That's $1, my friends. That's 7 days for $1.
I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Said I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming, and I reap what I done sown. Hey, hey. Well, let me tell you something, all that glitters ain't gold. Hey, hey. It's been a long old troublesome road, and I'm looking for somebody come and help me carry this load. I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Well, I don't know if I'm walking on solid ground, 'cause everything around me is falling down. And all I want is someone to help me. I had a job, but the boss man let me go. He said, I'm sorry, but I won't be needing your help no more. I said, please, Mr. Boss Man, I need this job more than you know. But he gave me my last paycheck and it sent me on out the door. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Said I need a dollar, dollar,
This is
dollar,
legal.
that's what I need.
It's illegal for me to get paid. My account's not monetized.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me?
Does it matter?
Well, I don't know if I'm walking on solid ground.
Probably matters.
'Cause everything around me is crumbling down. And all I want is someone to help me. What in the world am I gonna do tomorrow? Is there someone with a dollar I can borrow? Who can help me take away
I'm
my
obviously
sorrow?
never gonna finish this
Maybe it's inside the bottle.
project.
Maybe it's inside the bottle.
Maybe it don't matter.
I had some little, but it means whiskey and wine. Hey, hey.